Hey, I'm Joy, 32 years old, and let me tell you about the absolute nightmare that took place on my wedding day. All thanks to my mother-in-law. She definitely takes the cake for being the meanest. Now, I will rewind a bit, and you will know why. A few years ago, my late husband passed away due to some health issues, leaving me and my little daughter Crystal, who was just 3 at the time. It was rough, no doubt. But with the support of my amazing family and friends, I managed to pull through. 2 years after this difficult chapter, I met Corey, my present husband, at a karaoke bar. There I was, singing my heart out, and this guy showed up. Cute, charming, you know the type. We did a duet, thanks to my friends pushing us into it, and Corey, being the brave guy, asked for my number, and there it started. Now, dating as a single mom with a 5-year-old was no walk in the park. Most guys, once they found out about Crystal, they would bail. Straightforward and all, saying they did not want to deal with someone who already had a kid. I get it. It is not for everyone. But then there was Corey. So, Corey, it has been quite an evening, hasn't it? Your scientific stories are truly fascinating, but there is a matter on my mind. A little something to share. Oh, what's that? I hope it's not a confession of a secret life as a secret agent. No, not quite the secret agent revelation, but it is something personal. You see, I used to be married. Unfortunately, my husband passed away around 2 years ago, leaving me with a whirlwind of emotions. Oh, I'm genuinely sorry to hear that. I still carry his memory with me, but it is not just me he left behind. There's also our daughter, Crystal. Crystal? That is a beautiful name. How old is she? She's a delightful 5-year-old now. I'm laying this all out because, well, having a child might be a deal breaker for some, and I want to be upfront about it. A deal breaker? Are you kidding me? People have far stranger deal breakers. A 5-year-old is hardly an issue. I have enjoyed our time together, and knowing about Crystal doesn't change that. In fact, I would love to keep seeing you if you're up for it. Corey, that is genuinely heartening to hear. I'm definitely up for it. So there we were, a few more dates down the line, and everything felt like a dream. Corey, the guy with a heart of gold, suggested he wanted to meet Crystal. That threw me for a loop. I mean, it was a big step, letting someone new into my little family. I did not want to confuse Crystal, but I could see something real forming between us, so why not, right? It made me feel warm inside, and I told myself maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something beautiful. I decided to invite Corey over to my place. Figured I would cook up a nice dinner, nothing too fancy, just something homely. As I was preparing, Corey walked in with this gigantic present for Crystal. I was taken aback, in a good way. Hey, Corey, what is that? Thought I would bring a little something for Crystal. Oh, you did not need to do that. Wait, let me get Crystal. I called out for Crystal and she walked in. Crystal, say hi to Corey. He's Mama's friend. Hi, Corey. Hi, Crystal. I have a question for you. Do you like dolls? I love Barbies. Is that a doll? No, not at all. How about you open it and see what it is? Crystal, being the excited little girl that she was, opened the present. Oh my God, it's a dollhouse. Look, Mama. I have got a place for all of my dolls now. It's so huge. I'm glad you liked it. Crystal, what do you say when someone gives you a present? Thank you, Corey. Okay, why don't you spend some time with Corey while I finish up dinner? How about you get your Barbies and we can play with this dollhouse? Yay, we can finally play Barbie. I'll get them. The dinner with Corey went great. I was delighted to see him being so gentle with Crystal. She was fascinated to meet him, and they seemed to bond well. After that night, I realized how important it was for a male figure to be in Crystal's life, even though she knew about her dad going away, because The angel took him, as I told her. Things were going smoothly, and then Corey invited me to his parents' place to meet his mom, Betty, and his dad, Max, for the first time. I left Crystal with the babysitter because I started getting nervous. It felt like being a teenager again, facing the in-laws for the first time. Even though I had been in this situation a fair number of times, in-law situations always gave me the jitters. Mom, Dad, meet Joy, a wonderful woman I've been seeing. Nice to finally meet you. Yeah, Corey's always so hushed up about his dating life. Never lets us meet his girlfriends. It's nice meeting you two as well. So, I have a few questions every mom would ask to check if the girl is good for her son. Mom, cut her some slack. She's already nervous. I don't bite. Fire away. Corey told me you've been married once before. Did you leave your husband or did he leave you? Oh, that was not the case. My husband passed away. Thank God it wasn't a divorce. That just only indicates how problematic people can be. Also, may I ask what you do for work? I'm a lawyer. Then you must be bringing in some good bucks, right? Betty, don't pry too much. I have got the right to ask. I'm Corey's mom. I started working again just a year ago. I had to take a break for my daughter. I wanted to be there for her as much as possible. Wait, what? A daughter? Do you have a daughter? Yep, I have a daughter. Didn't Corey tell you? No, he didn't. What I say might hurt you, but I am just looking out for my son. He deserves the best. Corey, haven't I told you how some women just want to trap you for money because they have ulterior motives? What if Joy here just needs you as an ATM for herself and her daughter? When you told me you were finally bringing a girlfriend home, I thought it would be someone youthful and full of life, not an old widow with some daughter. What a bummer. Mom, relax. This is why I didn't tell you. You always overreact. Yes, Joy has a daughter named Crystal, and I love them both. I love Corey, and I can provide for my daughter. I am not here for Corey's wallet. Would have been easier if your daughter wasn't in the picture, if I'm being honest. She belongs in an orphanage instead of being a responsibility to my son or any other guy in this matter, now that her own father is dead. Kids like this should be put up for adoption. I'm sorry, but you need to leave. This is a lot for a mother to take in. All right, let's ease up a bit. Let them finish dinner you made. Well, I think I will just leave. Crystal needs me before her bedtime anyway. Hey, Joy, please stay. I'm sorry about all of this. You know, after that disastrous meeting with Corey's parents, I was ready to throw in the towel. Betty's words cut deep, labeling me as some gold-digging widow, and then saying all of that stuff about Crystal. It was heartbreaking. It hurt, but I thought I should spare myself from more of that negativity, so I took a break and tried to distance myself from Corey. But Corey, that persistent man, kept calling, apologizing for his mom's behavior. Surprisingly, I missed him too, and Crystal was also asking about him. Eventually, I caved. I called Corey back, and he assured me that he won't need his parents in our lives, especially not his mom. I agreed, and so it was just the three of us. Corey moved in, and things got surprisingly better. He stepped up in ways I had not expected. He became the father figure Crystal needed, doing everything her biological dad would have done for her, taking her to school, spending quality time, and being incredibly attentive. And with me, he was a dream, loving, caring, genuine, and, dare I say, romantic. A year after Corey moved in, he decided to make it official, in a romantic gesture that made me tear up. Corey asked me to be his forever too, so I said yes. Hey, babe, I wanted to share something with you. What's up? Is everything all right? Yeah, everything's fine. It's just that I had a conversation with my mom. You know, I'm engaged now, and she didn't look exactly thrilled about it, but I convinced her to give you and Crystal a chance. Oh, I don't blame you for telling your mother about the engagement, but I don't know if she'll really accept us. Well, I know my mom. She is sentimental like that. The moment I told her about my engagement, she looked like she knew she was missing out on too much. Trust me, she could do everything and anything to be involved in my life. So I talked her into setting up a date so she could meet Crystal. I'm pretty sure meeting Crystal can change her mind. Look at Crystal. She's a joy to be around. Well, you are right. After all, they are your parents. You can't just push them away because of me. And if she is willing to give this a chance, I'll forgive her and give her a chance too. Thanks, babe. I knew you'd understand. I just want everyone to get along. So soon, Corey dropped the news that Mark and Betty wanted to visit our place, get a taste of our life, and finally meet Crystal. I agreed. I told Corey it was okay for them to come over. We were also knee-deep in wedding planning, 4 months left, and I was secretly hoping maybe I could change Betty's mind. She was going to be my mother-in-law, whether I liked it or not, and having Corey's parents at the wedding meant a lot to him. Corey had always been incredibly understanding and supportive, doing so much for me. This seemed like the least I could do for him. The prospect of winning Betty over loomed, but I was willing to give it a shot. I wanted his parents to see that Crystal and I were a package deal, that my little family was worth being a part of. Mom, Dad, welcome. This is our place. Your husband left you this? It looks decent. Well, we bought this house together. We both chipped in to purchase it. I see how it is. So, where's Crystal? I've been wanting to meet her. Sure thing. Crystal, come here. Meet your new grandparents. This is Corey's mom, Betty, and that's his dad, Max. Hi, I'm Crystal. I'm happy I'll have one more Gammy and Papa now. Please don't call me that. I'm not your grandmother. Mom, she's just a kid. We talked about giving this a chance, right? Well, how about we go and eat? Everyone was seated at the table. I brought out the food and we started digging in. You call this food? I can cook much better than this. A woman should be able to cook good food for her husband. This does not taste good at all. My mom makes the best food in the world. You talk a little too much for someone your age, don't you? Crystal, why don't you go fetch me some water from the kitchen? Sure, Mom. I sent Crystal to the kitchen so that I could have a word with Betty. Betty, woman to woman, please don't treat my daughter like this. I know you might not like her, but for the rest of the evening, either don't talk to her or just be civil. I never wanted to compromise my daughter's life. I wanted to surround her with the best people. The last time we met, things were rough, but you can choose to be a part of our lives or not. It's up to you. I'm doing my best. I love your son and I respect both of you as my in-laws. I just ask for a little respect in return. Well, I see where your daughter gets her sharp tongue from. Let's see how long you can keep this up. We are not here to put on a show, Betty. We're here to build something together. Mom, can we please just enjoy the evening without unnecessary drama? Fine. I'd rather keep to myself than play happy family here. So for the rest of the meal, Betty stayed quiet. I consider that progress. Afterwards, Corey and I had a talk. He hoped his mom would warm up to us over time, and I shared that hope. She was better at our place than she was a year back at that disastrous dinner at her house. I thought maybe, just maybe, progress was in the works. But there was no time to dwell on it. A wedding needed planning. Venue hunting, guest lists, shopping, the whole 9 yards. Juggling work, errands, and taking care of Crystal made it challenging. But we pulled it off in 4 months. It was a whirlwind of decisions, and I had to figure out how to make it all come together. Invitations were sent out, and we did not forget to include Max and Betty. We wanted them to be a part of our happy occasion. So, the day before the wedding, Corey was at his parents' house following traditions, and I was at mine. The plan for the next day was for me to head to the salon with my bridesmaids while Crystal stayed at home with a babysitter for a couple of hours. Then I would return with my bridesmaid crew, send the babysitter home, and take Crystal to the venue in our car for our first look and other wedding activities. My parents were also coming to town the next day for the wedding. Despite the hectic plan, I thought I had everything prepared. But you know how it goes. Things don't always go as planned. It all started the next day at the salon. Instead of the expected 3 hours, it dragged on for 5. The salon turned out to be quite unprofessional. I wasn't even halfway ready when Crystal's babysitter called saying she needed to leave. In a bit of a panic, I called Corey to see if he could take Crystal. He mentioned being busy but suggested his mom, Betty, could come over and look after her. I knew Betty didn't exactly adore Crystal, but I didn't think she'd do any harm, and I was desperate at that point. A short while later, he confirmed that Betty would be heading to my place to watch over Crystal. The plan took a turn considering the salon's delay. Instead of going home, we decided to have the car we booked pick us up directly. In a pinch, I called Betty for a favor to dress up Crystal and bring her to the wedding venue. "Hey, Betty, I called you up for a favor." "What is it now? I'm already looking after your little girl. Don't you think that's enough?" "I know, Betty, you must be exhausted yourself, and I hate to bother you, but I really need some more help. The salon is taking extra time. Their team just got here. It's going to take a while. How about you help Crystal dress up? There's a pink gown in her wardrobe I got for her. Just ask her, she can show you. Put her hair in a nice updo. I can handle the finishing touches when she gets here. Could you please do that for me?" "Oh, I don't have an option here, do I?" "Hey, thanks a lot, Betty. You have no idea how much this means to me." The wedding day was proving to be full of surprises, but the biggest one was yet to come. After I made the phone call to Betty, I felt a bit relieved knowing that Crystal had someone to help her dress up and take her to the venue. I had the next 2 hours to get my hair and makeup done before heading to the wedding venue, conveniently close to the salon. The pre-wedding jitters were setting in, but just then Corey's best man knocked on my hotel room door. I let him in, and he delivered the news that Corey needed to see me urgently, mentioning it was an emergency. Panic set in as I wondered what could be more important than our wedding. I rushed over to Corey's room, and when I opened the door, there he was, embracing Crystal, who appeared to have been crying. My heart sank at the sight, and fear crept over me. "Corey, what's happening? Crystal, honey, are you all right?" "Yes, I'm good now, Mama. I missed you." "You might need to sit down for this one." When I finished getting ready, I asked my best man to drive me to your place. I thought we could all go to the venue together so my mom would not have to go through the whole trouble to get a taxi. When I got there unexpectedly, no one was home. I tried calling Mom, but she did not pick up. So I video called Crystal on her tablet, and it was still at home. I had a bad feeling. And when I heard a faint scream and banging, I realized it was coming from the shed in your backyard. I found Crystal there, sweating and crying. Someone had locked her in there, and by someone, I mean my mom. I brought her here first before calling you to avoid panicking you. I'm sorry. How could your mom do this? Crystal could have been hurt. She might have passed out there. I should not have called Betty in the first place. This is all my fault. I'm so sorry, babe. Don't blame yourself. It was my idea to trust my mom with this. I shouldn't have suggested it in the first place. Crystal, sweetie, I'm so sorry. How about I grab you something to eat while you sit here with Corey? Would you like that? I've already given her a lot of water, but yeah, she could use something to eat. But what about my mom? Is she here yet? I have no idea. I'm dealing with a lot right now. This was supposed to be our day. How can we go through with this after Betty pulled such a stunt? I know she managed to ruin the day for us, but I won't let that happen. The wedding is going to happen. We will go out there to celebrate our love and have a good time. Don't worry about my mom. Just inform me as soon as she gets here. I can't believe she would go to such lengths. I'll make sure she faces the consequences. I was seriously mad and not sure how to handle things, but Corey insisted on going ahead with the wedding, and we agreed to deal with Betty later. I needed some space, so I told my bridesmaids and made sure Crystal got a snack. While heading to Corey's room, I saw Betty coming. I quickly slipped into the room. "Your mom is here. Why don't you sit in here and enjoy these snacks with your mom brought for you, Crystal? We will be back in a while." Corey and I stepped out of the room. It was time to face the storm. "Hey, Mom, where's Crystal?"
"Oh, I think she's checking out the decorations in the hall. Are you ready for the big day?"
"Well, if she's out there, then who's in my room?"
"What do you mean?"
Corey slightly opened the door and Betty peeked in. "Mom, I know what happened."
"How did she get here?" "She wasn't supposed to be here today. I made sure that I locked it properly."
"Come on, Mom. You thought you could really pull something like that and just lie? And no one would suspect you? Now start talking and tell me what you did. I want to hear from you."
"Fine. After Joy called me, I was extremely furious. First, I have to put up with that little girl who doesn't even deserve a place in my family. And then I had to dress her up and get her to the venue like I was her babysitter or something. I got furious, so I took that girl's hand, took her to the shed and locked her in. Let me tell you one thing. When I locked her in, she didn't stop screaming and begging me to let her out. It was pretty satisfactory."
"You have no heart, Betty."
"Well, I did what I needed to do.
Every time I look at her face, my blood starts to boil." "Well then, Mom, you don't have to see her face for the rest of your life now."
"What do you mean?"
"What I mean is, Mom, you're a terrible human being. What you did today was not a stunt to prove something. It could have hurt Crystal seriously, and you know what? I'm done with you. I don't want you in my life any more."
"I did all of this for you, and that's how you thank me? I've always wanted the best for you."
"You only think about yourself, Mom. I don't want any contact with you. Go home now. You can't be a part of this wedding ceremony either. I don't want you around me or my family anymore. Do you hear that?"
"Son, please, you're making wrong decisions right now. You're going to regret this. I love you. Don't do this to me."
"I don't want to hear another word. We've already wasted a lot of time. Please get out. Otherwise, I'll have to call hotel security." So after Corey's showdown with his mom, the real celebration began. My parents rolled in along with other guests, and my mom took charge of looking after Crystal during the entire ceremony. We exchanged vows and threw one hell of a party. As we celebrate our 1-month anniversary, we found out that I'm pregnant. My focus has shifted to protecting our growing family. Betty's out of the picture, and honestly, it feels like justice. Max even distanced himself too after learning about her psychotic activity. Sometimes people are just straight up bad, like Betty, who just chose the dark side, leaving no room for goodness.